Hi there, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be showing you how I created this little candy corn candy pouch. It's pretty simple, especially if you know the basics, then I think you'll find it extremely simple. And it's the perfect size to just stash away some little candy and give it as a gift. Aren't they so cute? Okay, so let me show you how I went about creating this. I used, this is a 5mm hook, and I have my 100% cotton. I love this cotton yarn from Hobby Lobby. So I think any cotton will do. I just particularly like this cotton because it's really soft. And you definitely would want to use 100% cotton, I think, because over time, you know, because these are reusable, obviously, so over time, especially when little hands are on it, you could kind of stretch it, I think, in some weird ways. So definitely use some cotton yarn. Okay, and I start out by creating a little slip knot, of course, leaving a tail. Leave it at least several inches long. You don't want it too short. And I'm going to be creating a chain, but a foundation chain. This one is a little smaller. This was actually my first little trial candy corn, and this one was with 14 stitches originally at the bottom. This is with 16. So you can see the difference, just 2 stitches longer creates in size. So I prefer this size, so this is the tutorial I'm going to go on. But again, you can adjust these. I like to go in increments of 2, and you can adjust these just by adding a couple stitches if you wanted it larger, or if you did prefer the small, because this will hold some smaller little candy goodies. Okay, so make your slip knot and then chain 2. And then once you do that, find that first stitch, that first hole that you created, and go back through and pull up a loop. And once you have that loop, just pull through the first part and then grab your yarn again and then pull through the 2 loops that were on your hook. And I like to pull my tail a little bit at this point so it kind of all stays a little tight. Now what you're going to be doing is you're going to be going in this top loop here, in this top part of the chain, and it's going to look like it's the first chain. It's kind of right up against your knot there, or your slip knot. Go under both loops there and pull up a loop, and then you're going to pull through 1 and pull through 2. So technically you've created, we count this as 2 now. You did it the first time and then you did it the second time. We're not counting that chain that we started off with the 2, because that got you started. So then we go right here close to the hook, go under both parts of the stitch that you created there, pull up your loop, go through 1, and then grab your yarn and go through again. So now that counts as 3. So we go all the way across until we get to 16. Okay, so I'm going to go under again. Let me show you this again. Under the 2, pull up your loop, grab your yarn and pull through 1, grab your yarn, pull through the second part. That counts as 4. Okay, and if it starts to look a little bit, if it looks like it's curving a little bit, things like that, don't worry, because as you grow in number, you start straightening it out some. Just try to keep your tension the same as you're going through. So then we're going to do this again. We're going to go under the 2 parts of your stitch right close to the hook, pull up your loop, go through 1 and go through 2. Now we have, that would be 5. Okay, I'm going to keep going, and I'm going to meet you back at the end of the row of 16. Okay, now once you have your 16 in length, your 16 stitches, you're going to chain 1, and then you're going to flip your work. But really, you're at this stage, you're actually almost like just twisting it to where it looks like, to you, it might seem like you just flipped it upside down. Okay, that's how I do this here. All right, now for this second row, all we're doing is single crocheting all the way across. 1, 2, and you're going under both the loops here. 3, and the way that you're going to know that you did 16 in your length, if that's what your whatever number you came up with, is as you're counting, you'll want to hit that at the very end. Okay, so I'm going to keep single crocheting all the way across, and I'll meet you back here at the end of this row. Okay. Row 2. Once you reach the end, you're going to chain 1, and then you're going to flip your work. Okay, and this time that's exactly what we just did. It just flipped over. It didn't look like it turned upside down. So now this next row, you're actually going to be doing a decrease. You're going to decrease at the stitches at the beginning and at the end, so you will end up with 14 stitches across. So after you chain 1 and you flip, you're actually going to go right in the loop, right up against your hook. Okay, and make sure you catch through both of them, through the top basically. Okay, so then you go under and you pull up a loop, but then because we're decreasing, we're going right into the next one under the 2, and we're going to pull up another loop. So you're going to have 3 loops on your hook, then yarn over or under, whichever way you do yours, and then pull through all 3. Okay, so this will count as 1 stitch now. Okay, and then you're going to single crochet until you get towards the end with 2 stitches left. Okay, so you single crochet all the way across in those, both going under both those top loops. Okay, single crochet all the way across until you have 2 left. I'm going to do that, and I'm going to meet you right back here at the end. I'm at the end of that row with 2 loops left. Okay, so I'm going under the 2 there, pulling up a loop, and then I'm going into the next stitch under both of the full stitch there, and I'm pulling up another loop, so I have 3 loops on my hook, and then I yarn over, under, and pull all the way through. Okay, and then chain 1 and turn your work. Okay, so now that was 14, so I'm going to be single crocheting through each loop here, having another row of 14. Okay, so go through that first stitch up against your hook, single crochet. All right, so that's now 2, and then this is now 3. Go all the way across and you'll get to 14. Okay, so once you completed that single crochet stitch all the way across to your 14 stitches, before you chain 1, grab your next color, which will be like in the orange family. I know mine looks a little more rust toned. So grab that, leave a tail, and then you're actually gonna pull that through as your chain. Okay, and you might have to reach back and pull that original yellow a little tighter, and then pull this a little tighter as well. Then turn your work. Okay, and then we're going to be starting out with a decrease in this new color. Okay, so go in through the top 2 stitches again, closest to the hook, pull your new color through, go into the next stitch, pull up a loop again, so now you have 3 on your hook, pull your yarn, grab hold of your yarn and pull through all 3. Okay, and then you're going to stitch single crochet all the way across until you get to the last 2, and we're going to be decreasing again over here to give us a total of 12. Okay, so I will meet you back at the end and we'll pull through those last 2, creating 1 stitch at the end together. Okay, I'm at the end now with 2 stitches left, so I'm going to be doing the decrease. So I go under that stitch, pull up a loop, and go under that last one and pull up a loop, making this row now 12. Okay, and once you do that, chain 1, turn your work, and single crochet. You're not going to decrease this row. Single crochet 12 all the way across. Okay, so right up against the hook again, start your first single crochet. That was 1, and this is 2. Go all the way across until you get to your number 12. Once you get to the end, your 12th stitch, then you're going to chain 1 and turn your work, and you're going to be decreasing this row to 10. So go right up against your hook there, go under in that stitch, pull up a loop, go into the next one, pull up a loop, grab your yarn and pull through all 3, go all the way across until you get to your last 2, and you should have a total of 10 stitches in this row. Okay, I have the 2 stitches left, so I'm going under the 1, pulling up a loop, going through that last one, pulling up a loop, so this will make 1, now number 10 stitch. Okay, then you chain 1, turn your work, and single crochet all the way across in those 10 stitches, remembering to go under both loops just like you have been the entire time. Okay, so you should have 10 single crochets across. I'll meet you back in a second. Now that we have our second row here of the 10 stitches, it's time to change color. So we're finishing up our candy corn. See how these line up here? Okay, so grab your white. Mine's a little bit of an off-white. Leave about a few inches here. All right, you did not, now when you got to the end, we did not chain 1. There should still be those 2 connecting pieces of yarn right there, so we did not chain 1. This is going to be our chain, just like when we changed colors back here. All right, this white color. So I grab hold of it and I pull it through. That creates my chain 1. Okay, so then try to just get your tail out of the way. All right, now you turn your work. All right, don't mind all of these tails. If you wanted, mine are still attached, but if you wanted to cut them off, just leave them kind of long and go ahead and cut them off now. I like to just cut them off at the end. Okay, so in this row, we're going to be decreasing and making it a row of 8 stitches, okay? So go in right against your hook, go under those 2, that 1 stitch there, and then go under the next one, pull up your loop. So now you have 3 again on your hook. Grab your yarn, pull through all 3. All right, go all the way across until you get to your last 2 stitches with a single crochet. Once you get to the end, just like in the other rows, you're going to take those last 2 and you're going to be doing a decrease, joining them together again to get you 8 stitches all the way across. Okay, I have my 2 at the end here, going under the 1, I'm going under the last one, pulling through. I have 3 on the hook, grabbing my yarn and pulling through all 3, and then chaining 1, and then turn your work and single crochet all the way across the 8 stitches that you just created. Okay, we're not decreasing, we're going all back through all 8. Get to the end, chain 1, turn your work. This is another decrease row. Okay, so again we're decreasing on each end, so this, our numbers go down by 2, so this is going to be a row of 6 stitches. Okay, so go under that one next to the hook and the next one beside it. You have 3 now on your hook. Grab your yarn, pull through all 3. There's stitch 1. Then we continue across, so that's 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 2 left, so we go under 1, and then we go under the one next to it, and then we grab hold of our yarn and pull through all 3, and then chain 1, turn your work, and you're going to single crochet across your new stitch row count of 6. I'll meet you at the end. Now went through and have our row of 6 here, chain 1, and we're going to decrease again here for 4. Go under the one next to it, and pull through all 3. That's 1, that's 2, that's 3, and then connect these, and that makes that 4. Now chain 1, turn your work. The difference now is we are decreasing again. We're not single crocheting. We're going to go ahead and decrease and make this 2. So we go through that next to the hook, through the next one beside it, and then pull through all 3. So that's 1. And then we're decreasing right up against it. Go under that next stitch, pull up a loop, and then go under the one beside it on the end there, and pull again, 3 on your hook, grab your yarn and pull through all 3. That is the top of our candy corn. So you're actually done this first layer. As you see, there's 2 layers here. So now I actually do cut off, leave it a little bit long, a few inches, snip it off, and then pull it all the way through like this. Leave it hanging, and then if you were like me and you didn't cut your other ends off, go ahead and trim those that are still connected to your skeins of yarn. Okay, and there is one of your layers of your candy corn. And so now we're going to do it all over again to make your second layer. So what you can do is you can just go back to the beginning of this video and do all of those steps all over again so that you create 2 layers, and then I will meet you back here once we have 2 and show you how to stitch them together, turn it inside out to make your little candy corn pocket. Okay, so now that we have our 2 candy corn sides here, we're going to stitch them together, part way together. We're not stitching all the way up the side. See how I actually use the white, off-white yarn color change as my kind of deciding point. Obviously, you can go up as high as you like, but I kind of use that as my point of reference. Okay, so what I do first is I weave in this top end, and you'll notice when you pulled this through, see how loose it makes this top piece? So you want to kind of weave it in against. If you go one direction, it's going to keep it really loose. So you want to go against that to pull it tighter. Use a tapestry needle to do this. So when weaving in, pick a side, and you're going to be weaving all of your ends in on that one side. Okay, so that'll be the side that you'll use as the inside of your candy corn. So I go ahead and I weave in this white color. Okay, again, pulling that a little bit. Don't pull it too tight, but you want to pull it enough where it is snug and it just creates that nice rounded top edge. Okay, and so to weave, you're actually just doing just that. Just weave that end in. And I try to stay on this inside layer of stitches so that on the what will be my outside, it goes unseen. Okay, and I get this white one woven in. I kind of take it down towards this bottom stitch transition color line. If your tail is long enough, you'll make it down there quite easily. And then once I get close to that, I go through each of these top white stitches here, and I Once I do that, I pull it through. Okay, and then again on this side, you can't tell that that was done. All right, once you do that, you can actually just go ahead and snip that right off. Now, go ahead and pick up your other one and do that with this white color as well. Okay, and I'll meet you right back here once you do the second part. Now that you've done that to both of your sides, again, one side, think about it as the inside. So you're going to be weaving in the rest of your ends here. And actually, because a lot of it is hidden, I actually tie off myself. I tie and I make several little knots. You may just want to weave. This is kind of personal preference. But I tie it off there since those are close together. These ends are close together. So I make a little knot, and I don't pull too tight if you do it this way. But I double knot these. And then that way, if you want, on this part, on these down here, I actually end up not bothering weaving in. I just kind of trim those and I leave a little. It's just easier, but you can do it whatever way you're comfortable with. Now we have this long bottom where we started, tail of your yellow or your gold tone yarn, and so I do go in and weave that in, again sticking to those inside stitches. When we flip it, they'll be inside the candy corn and you'll never know. Okay, again, a tapestry needle I find is best to really kind of do this easily. But I know in the past when I didn't have one of these, I would select a hook that was a lot smaller than my original, in this case 5mm hook. So I would have grabbed like at least a 3 or a 2.5, and I would have used that to weave in my end. So that's always something, if you don't have access to a tapestry needle right now, you can go ahead and do that. But however you can get those little ends in there. Again, this is going to be hidden, so you're not going to end up seeing that there. So go ahead and do that, and once that's done, I'll meet you back here and show you how I stitch around here and then flip it inside out and finish up the candy corn. Okay, once you've finished weaving in your ends, take the sides that have your ends kind of poking a little bit, possibly like mine. Maybe they're not. Maybe you do a much better job. But take those sides, have them on the outside. So you're placing what looks to be more like the clean side together, because that, once we flip it inside out, that'll be on the outside, and the sides with the ends that you wove in, they'll be hidden. Okay, so do that, lay those together, all right, sort of like so. And then I like to use this your yellow yarn to do this next part, because as we see, the edge that has the most that we're going to be going around is actually the yellow. In my case, it's a little more of a golden color. Okay, but we're actually going to start up here. So I kind of measure out, basically, I kind of go around my candy corn almost twice, not necessarily twice, but, and then I just get one piece of yarn off of my skein here in that color, and I put it on my tapestry needle. Again, if you have to use your small millimeter hook, you could do so. And what I do when I do this is I use the middle color, more of the orange or the rust tone I have here. And that's where I actually start for stitching together. Okay, so pull through, leave a tail though. Leave a tail of, I'd say 2.5, 3 inches. All right, and then come back around, just take your yarn back around to the side you started. Once you start stitching through, just use that side as the side you start with. Pick up a piece of the yarn that's on this inside again, almost like along this edge. It's kind of like the inside loop. So when we flip it, it'll be a little more hidden. My candy corns are not perfect, so a little bit of the yellow yarn may peek through a bit, but I try to stitch all the way around, and by connecting those what appear to be more of the inner stitches. Okay, so you just pick up those loops, those inside loops on each one. Again, I go through on the same side each time, so it kind of just creates those almost like the lines of a stitch line. And I go all the way around. Now, when you get to your corners, reinforce them by going in twice. Kind of like if you were sewing. A lot of times they'll, if you're a sewer, you know what I mean. You go back over with your sewing machine, you kind of back stitch. I don't sew that often, so I don't know the correct verbiage there, but I think you follow me. You got to reinforce your corners. Okay, it helps to reinforce your corners. So it just strengthens your connections all the way around. So start here, start where this color is, go around, stitch twice in this corner, stitch around this way, stitch at the bottom of your candy corn, and then stitch these, reinforce these corners here by stitching in twice, and then go up and stop right around here, even with the other side where you started. Okay, so I'm going to stitch some, and then I'll jump back on here, and then we'll get closer to finishing up together. I want to point out, when you're stitching along the bottom of your candy corn, your two yellow edges together, it's a lot easier to see these inside stitch loops. Okay, so you pull the ones together that technically on one, I guess it would be considered the back loop, and then on the other, the front loop, however you like to call it, but I just call them the inside loops when you hold them together to line them up. So the bottom row, the bottom of your candy corn, it's easier to see what you're doing and stitch it when stitching it together than the sides may be for you. Now, once you get to the end, you may also want to reinforce that by doing a double stitch, just like you did the corners, because that part will be pulled apart a little more when trying to snag the candy or put the candy or the treat inside. So go ahead and do that. Do more of a double stitch there. And then once you have that done, I'm going to go back and do that in the beginning over here too. I'm going to weave that through again. But then weave your yellow yarn back through some of your stitches here along the edge. Again, trying to keep them on what appears to be this top layer that you're working through. Pardon my nails, I have not done them recently, but I wanted to get this video out, so you're not here for that anyway. Okay, so once I get down to this matching yellow layer section, I like to just weave in the top layer through these top chains and kind of just pull it right through, and that's where I'm gonna snip off. Okay, and then I said I was gonna go back over here because I forgot to do that little double stitch in the beginning over here to just make sure this stays strong. Okay, and then I'm going to actually flip it over. Usually I keep it on that one side when you're going around, but I'm weaving this in now, so it's okay to just flip it over, get down to the same color. That's why it's important to leave your ends several inches long, especially if you know, if you made any mistake or something, it's better to have some length there. So I just weave it on through the top layer, and I will trim this off right here. Okay, again, these little ones that are poking out, no problem, because we are now turning our candy corn right side out. And there you have it. You need to get your little fingers down in there to kind of push your corners through, but that's your candy corn, and it's the perfect size to stick some little treats inside. A fun little fall gift giving idea. If you have any that stick out on this side, just go through real carefully and trim those or pull them through the other side. Okay, thanks so much for following along, and if you feel free, if you like videos like this, just give it a like and feel free to subscribe to my channel. It helps me out, but I hope you have a really blessed October coming up. And if you have any fall markets, this might be a fun little idea you might want to incorporate. All right, have a blessed day.